Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my show Computer Wednesday. In today's episode we're gonna talk about servers, same way we talked about supercomputers. So today we're gonna take a look at servers. So first you have to understand what the heck we are talking about. We are talking about a dedicated PC which is built to do one thing. So basically in terms of things that go into a server, it's more or less same as yours. It's not like a let's say Intel builds your processor, server processor are built by something else. It's built by Intel also. The same way your AMD processor, same goes there also. So it's not something completely like, different. It's made out of the same thing. It has the same component, and if you see a server you can understand it. It's not something magical or hoo-ha. You can understand this part. Now however, you have to understand it's a dedicated equipment. It's like I'm built to do one thing and I'm gonna do that thing. It's not a Swiss army knife. It's like I'm meant to do one thing, I'm gonna do that. Now this is what allows internet to work. Now in my last video about internet, I specified nobody owns internet. However, the people who provide services on them, they do own it partially, so to say. So where those services are being provided, the services come from the server. So think of it this way. Let's say you uploaded your photos on Facebook is like, okay, I got them. Now who got them? Like is there a person sitting there? No, it's a server is taking that file. Now let's say 1 year happened. After that 1 year, Facebook is like, hey, this friendship has has 1 year anniversary, go. Now let's say there is a AI that does that. Where does that AI send the data to? That will send data to server. So basically server is acting between as a quote unquote center point between client, basically you and I, and the administrator who is maintaining the time server. So server is very critical to internet. It is the internet in one way or the other, because when we say we are connecting computer to computer, you are not connecting to the person who is doing content monitoring or management or to Facebook. You are connected to a Facebook server, and the person who is doing the management and all that jazz, they are also connected to the server. So server is the backbone of internet. It is what allows internet to work, and these are built to work 24/7. Basically some servers have uptime of 10 years or 12 years at this point in time. They have been running continuously. So everything about it, basically you can hard swap parts also in that. Like, oh, this unit broke down, you change the unit, the system will keep running. So it's built completely different than your computer. So that's why on New Year or basically Christmas or something like that, Amazon does not go down, Facebook does not go down, unless there is some network flaw. Basically, let's say that somebody broke the fiber or something bad happened. Again, barring those things, server will never go down. Now again, they try to make sure that nothing is perfect, but they try to make sure. On top of that, in terms of investment, what kind of money goes into that? Well, to give you a context of that, when you are thinking about, hey, Wix, or let's say GoDaddy, or let's say Squarespace, you are, when you are talking about this, you are talking about first layer client. Basically you're gonna go to them and they're gonna like, hey, here's our services. They're gonna go to someone else and it's like, bro, can you build our server, or can you do our services itself? Like let's say Instagram goes to Amazon Web Services. Amazon Web Services is like, I gotta take care of the server part. Server is ludicrously expensive. It's a completely different ball game when it comes to investment. To give you a context, YouTube runs on 100% loss. I will explain why that is. So what does go into that makes it so expensive? Well, first you have to look at the hardware side of things. Now hardware, it's a completely different class of equipment. When you talk about your computer, you are talking about like, okay, 1 year, 2 years or 3 years, you're gonna replace it after 3 years or 4 maybe. And again, if you are doing something serious, let's say a video editor, they might replace their computer much more frequently. It might be a thing where like, yeah, I built it and I replaced it, I built it, I replaced it. Some people overbuilt it and then they replace it every 5 years. But again, that is a completely different mindset compared to what you are talking about servers. Even though they will only work for 5 years, they are working 24/7 into 5 years. That is the critical aspect. There is no downtime, there is no off time. Basically, if they have a computer fan in those system, those fan will keep working. They will keep working and they will keep working. There will not be a single day where there's like, okay, today is Christmas, so off. No, they will keep working. That's the whole difference. It's a completely different equipment category, and all the money that goes into it, because if you check specs, specification by specification, it will be never look impressive. Server will look downright outdated. It's like, dude, you don't even have USB 3.0, dude, you don't even have like this or that or jazz, and you can't even overclock. Why the hell you are so expensive? Because the money that you are paying there is not paying for the bells and whistles, as they say. You are paying that for MTB, or as I would simply call it, mean time between failures. So let's say you took a hard drive, normal commercial home grade hard drive, and you're like, okay, boom, you bought the hard drive, you put it in a server, and it's like it worked flawlessly for 1 year, and after that it died. Then you bought another one, home one, it worked flawlessly for 1 year, then it worked for second year, and then it failed. Then you bought someone else, it failed in 5 months itself. So it's unreliable. You cannot count on it, those servers. So when you are talking about server grade, basically commercial or enterprise grade, you are talking about hard drives that you can be absolutely sure that they will not die before a certain time. Like, again, something could happen, but it would be like, I bought 100 hard drives, one hard drive died in 5 months, everything else died after 3 years. So that is what you are paying for. Double checking, triple checking, ensuring that that kind of stress load can survive the equipment. Basically, the equipment must live long enough. That is the whole point of paying the money. Basically, the fans on the server chassis, those are ludicrously high energy equipments. Normal fans, 2 5 watts, 10 watt maximum. These puppy 50 to 60 watt, they are basically a hair dryer. Literally, they have that kind of air pushing power, and they are supposed to run in an oven. Basically, your server chassis get hot, they get ludicrously hot, so it has to work in a hot environment 24 into 7 into 5 years. So, and they are also built in such a way that you can hot swap them. Basically, one of the fan died, you open up the chassis, you replace the one while everything is running, you put another one in, and off you go. So that's the reality. That's why you're paying so much. Like, you will think, okay, it's double the price. No, it's like 10 times the price. That is the reason for that. Even and redundancy is the key. This is one thing you will learn as you grow old, is that everything dies. Things die randomly. Like, you could have like the most amazing iPhone out there, and it's like, it died. It happens. Like, it happens to almost everything. Heck, that's the reason why camera company like RE, which supplies camera for large companies, they randomly they test their every camera, because they know for some reason a lot of the camera that have bad luck on them, they will break in the first few months of testing. So they will test it, and then after that they know like that if it survives the testing, it will not die at least for 1 year. So same happens. Things break down. That's why even professional photographers, they always try to get dual card slot in their camera, because memory card can fail. Things happen. Things fail. So how do you ensure about that? First, you get as high quality component as you can get, then you get double of them. So power supply, think of it this way. Same way power supply is like in your computer, they have one power supply. That's it. If it goes, it goes. Here they have 3, and they have very smart operations in that. Think of it this way. Only 2 would be active at any time. So you will have A, B is on, then you will have A will shut down, then C will come on, B will be on, then B will shut down, A and C will be running. So you will have always cycling between all of this. So none of them are like overstressed, none of them are like working at max capacity, because if you push something to max capacity, it breaks down. You want to be like around 80% range. So that way they are, and if one fails, it will keep screaming, but it will have more than enough power to handle it. It's like, I got it, one of us is down, like, but it will keep screaming until you replace it. So that's the easiest way. Like, you get as high quality component as you can get, and you get double of them or a triple of them. Or in hard drives, even though they have like professional enterprise grade hard drive, those not supposed to die, but something will happen. Let's say you put 10,000 of them, one of them will randomly say, so long this world, and randomly die. So you have to replace them on spot. And how do you make sure you don't lose data? You double it. You're like, okay, I need 10 hard drive for data, I'll put 20. You have double the redundancy. So that's the whole point, and all of this built into an architecture that is fit for its purpose. It's like, I'm meant to do this, so everything is designed in such a way that, hey, power supply failed, use hot swap it directly. You don't have to need screwdrivers or something like that. Or hard drive failed, you press a button, that's it. Everything is built for that purpose, and that's just the hardware side. Let's talk about the software side. Now, this is if you think Raspberry Pi is not user friendly, or your router's basically interface is not basically customer friendly, server is like, bro, come at my side, like, just bro, hold my beer. So servers are completely different. Why? Well, think of this way. They are built on a completely different budget. So even 1% extra performance people can yank out of it is worth it, because you are paying so damn much out of it. So people use custom Linux distro. Sometimes Windows are also used, but not so much. But custom Linux is like 99% of the place will have custom Linux, and that's what's running the backbone, quote unquote, the operating system on that world. And then during early 2005 and 2010, people realized that we're gonna make more cores rather than faster cores. So virtualization took over. So what we had, hardware, then we had operating system, then we had other application, whoever doing the who-has. Then somebody came and realizes that, hey, we are not making more powerful processor. That's why our gigahertz is not like, 10 gigahertz or 35 gigahertz. We are limited kind of, more or less 4 or 5. Best case scenario, you're gonna expect 8 gigahertz. So we are limited in that. So what we did, you start to put more core. What's the point of more core if you can't utilize that? So somebody came up with the idea that you will have a virtualization layer, and that layer will make every core in your processor as an independent system. So you'll have virtualized. Again, how it's done is varies people to people, different architecture to architecture, different firm to firm. So you'll have something that virtualizes it, and then each processor will have like basically the cores they will become quote unquote CPU itself. So they're like, okay, this processor, let's say, has 8 cores. It will run 8 instances of a whole operating system. That's why servers generally have ludicrously large amount of RAM and ECC RAM, so it does not corrupt randomly on them. So that's how they try to get most out of it. Because if you press Control Shift Escape on your computer, and you will notice most of the time your processor is not doing much. But given the cost of the servers, and given the how much money they have put into it, to get their return on investment, it must be working at 100% capacity before it fails, and it will fail over time whether you use it or not fail. So people use it to 100%. To get 100%, we utilize virtualization. So it's virtualized like hell. And then the core level, like core level operating system that you have in your home, it's completely different versus the core level operating system of a server. Server is designed on parallelizing everything, and your home system, it's fast enough that it can be like, yeah, I will do one after the another. It does not make too much difference. On the server, it's completely different ballgame. Like it literally has to handle hundreds of data demands coming in and hundreds of demands going out. So it's like Netflix cannot slow down. It's like, hey, I'm gonna serve this people in, let's say, Nebraska, and then it's like, hey, I'm gonna serve the people in Bronco or something like that. It has to serve all of them at once. So it's designed to handle that kind of parallel load. So it's like your home computer has like 8 lanes going in and out. This puppy have like 800 lanes going in and out. So it's parallelized to a completely different degree. And security, well, this is the most important thing in the planet at this point in time. So if you think your banks have money, this puppy is like, bro, hold everything. Like, I literally, servers have enough data in them. Data itself is worth it, and on top of that, sometimes they have direct financial data, and those data are ludicrously important. Basically, you cannot lose them. If you lose them, you can crash an entire country's economy. So those are very important thing. And they have security, and they have security on top of those security. Basically, they have watchmen who watches the watchmen. So it is a completely different problem. That's why servers are like on such a whole different level, that people who are smart enough to build Instagram, they are not smart enough to build their own server system. So they will go to Amazon. It's like, bro, take care of this. So how do you handle the unknown scenarios? How do you make sure your system or the server or whatever services you are offering is on all the time, 100% of the time? Well, you can't. That's the first thing you will learn. Things happen, random things happen. Because let's say you build the best power system out there. You have like 2 utilities that are providing independent power to you. You have a backup generator, backup UPS, you have everything. And earthquake happens, very powerful one, and your whole server is dead. So what can you do? Well, you will have simple redundancy. Basically, you will clone the server itself. So to give you a simple example, there are generally more than one server working. So these are like Amazon web servers. I'm not sure, like there must be more than this, but you get the idea. So let's say for some reason server in Brazil goes down, the data will be directly ported from basically Australia. If something bad happens in Australia, data will be ported from Japan. Something bad happens there, it will port it from Europe. So you get the idea. There is like physical backups of the whole server out there. And when you're talking about Google will have backup on top of backup on top of another backup. So at some scenario, let's say something bad happens in Hong Kong server, it goes down, nobody would even notice that, hey, Hong Kong is down. Again, the people who are maintaining it, they will notice it, and they're like, okay, let's get our team on it and let's get it back online. But you will not notice it. You and I will not notice it. It will keep working. The only time these things stop working is basically human stupidity. And you must have heard that, like randomly sometimes happen, like, hey, Google employee uploaded a wrong code and it shuts down the server. Or again, human stupidity can stop it, but in more than often than not, you cannot do anything to block them. On top of that, they have experts on hand 24/7. There is no holiday for them. Basically, they are on hand all the time. They will have multiple shifts, and if it's important enough, they may have to be on site all the time, even if they are not doing anything. It's like, because it's priority high enough, they will like, yeah, I'm just sitting here waiting for something to happen. Like literally, some data are that centric that people will afford to do that. So what does this mean, experts on hand? Because think of this way, let's say something bad happens, like DDoS attack, denial of services attack, millions of data requests sent through a pipeline that was designed to handle, let's say, 1 million, and it overrides it. You cannot send a command signal through that where you can shut down the system. So you have to have physically somebody going there and reset the damn system. So that kind of thing requires you to be on site. There is no substitute to on site, because, or let's say something bad happens, like a fiber link to your place breaks down. Let's say your office is awesome and like you had your server is awesome, server is working properly, but something bad happened between the link between your office and server. So you have to be in server, and servers will have like 5, 6, sometimes even 10 independent networking system done, so they can be absolutely sure the flooding, waters, nothing minor can damage them. So they'll have experts on hand, and these buildings, because of the priority they have protected building status. Basically, you cannot even get near to them. You cannot just, hey, I'm gonna take my drone and I'm gonna fly to near to basically Google system. Unless Google wants you to, you cannot do that, and they might even harm you directly if you try to do that. And these are protected by police force, armies, depending on the priority. It is serious business. Do not try to troll around them, basically, unless Google wants you to. Like, if they will already spot you, they will like, yeah, this guy is coming here, it's a troll, just let him, or something like that. Or they might even offer you indoor service if you ask nicely. So these are protected building. You do not expect them like, if somebody is gonna vandalize that. These are protected. You cannot dig even around them because they have underground fiber system, so it's very protected. And they will have hot spare for everything. Hard drive went down, they're not gonna like call up, hey Amazon, can you have a speed delivery? They will have at least let's say their average is like 5 hard drive goes down every day. They will have 10 hard drives for per day as a backup. They're like, okay, 1 hard drive died, boom, boom, new one. Ain't nobody got time for that. Power supply went down, boom, boom, ain't nobody got time for that. Basically, hot spare for everything is the critical response for them. And this is the reason why basically YouTube is 100% in running a loss. Well, that was the core reason why YouTube was sold in the first place. YouTube was sold to Google. Then why Google bought it? Well, simple reason, Google is making more than enough money that it can afford that kind of loss. And YouTube is the world's second largest search engine, Google being the first one. And if you have the first and second, you can ensure that no matter what happens, nobody can create a competition to you. It's an absolute monopoly trick. So that's why they are doing it. Basically, they can afford to do it, and this makes sure that there is no competition ever. Because imagine that, like, Netflix is hard to run. Basically, you just have, like, how many content you may have. Well, let's say 500 TV shows, and you're gonna stream that to how many people you have. YouTube is like, bro, I have, like, 100 million hour content uploaded every hour. It's like, it's undoable, flat out. Nobody can do it financially successfully. So what about all the advertisement? All those are only there just to basically help a content creator, because again, search provider will not mean anything if there is nothing to search. So because again, Google is a search engine, not anything other than that. They do not make their content themselves, so we have to be there for them. So they are like, okay, little bit of money to you, so you are interested enough, you keep doing what you're doing, and they get the second world's biggest second search engine out there. So do not expect that. That's why, like, all the companies that tried, like be it Gap or BitChute, all they tried, none of them are like at a position where you can even come close to comparing to YouTube. So this is the reason for that. Like, servers are completely different ways. Like, you think, oh, high-end PCs are expensive or Apple is expensive. Server is like, bro, hold my beer. Like, Ferraris are cheap for them. So this was my presentation on servers. I hope you liked it, learn from it, understand some things about the server. And in that case, I would urge you to press like, share it amongst your friends. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I'd urge you to press dislike, press it twice to show me your extra disappointment. Please leave a comment because I reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free. And as always, thanks for watching.